Welcome to Coach O's Math. Today we're going to be talking about coordinate plane. What I want you to do is I want you to stop the video and write these down, these terms down. The title of your notes are coordinate plane and scatter plots. I want you to write down quadrants, x-axis, y-axis, origin, x-coordinate, y-coordinate, and ordered pair. Stop the video because you need to know the definitions of all of these. All right. Welcome back. What you have here is a coordinate plane. First of all, understand that a plane is a flat surface that extends in all directions in math. When you think about it, you can think of the floor. It's a flat surface, and if we didn't have walls, that flat surface would go on forever. If you think about if you were to cut me in half and open me up and see my inside, that would be a plane. If you cut me in half this way, in between, so left and right, and opened me up, that would be a plane. So math, we have to have a flat surface so we can put the grid down. So the plane is the flat surface that the grid, or the coordinate plane, goes on top of. It is made up of two lines that intersect perpendicularly. Perpendicular means that they intersect at right angles. And they intersect right here at this point. Now that point of intersection, where these two lines, the main lines intersect, is called the origin. And that point is 0, 0. So write that down, that the origin is the point 0, 0. Well, the line that intersects that goes this way, which is a horizontal line, is called the x-axis. That's the horizontal line that makes up the coordinate plane. The line that's the vertical line is called the y-axis. It's the vertical. And where they meet in the two, right in the center, is called the origin. And the origin is the point 0, 0. This grid line helps you to understand that all the numbers on the x-axis that lie to the right of 0 are all positive numbers. And all the numbers that lie to the left are negative numbers. That's on the x-axis. So likewise, with the y-axis, all numbers that lie above are positive numbers, and all numbers that lie below are negative numbers. So this is much like a thermometer. And in football, or in a sport where you're thinking about football, where this is the end zone, if I go this way, I'm gaining positive yards, and I'm trying to score, but if they get me behind the line of scrimmage, it's a negative loss, right? So you're going to move away. All right. So each of these lines, each of these segments are counted by ones, twos, or however you want it. For our sake, each one of these are going to count one. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Over here, -1, -2, -3. So this is just like a number line. The y-axis, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. The point right in the middle is 0 for both the x and the y-axis. X is 0 here, and y is 0. That's why it's called the origin. It's where it starts. So what does all this mean? Well, when we take the x and y-axis and it cuts up, it makes 4 sections. You see that? It cuts the graph into 4 sections, or the plane. We always start at the upper right-hand corner, and this is called quadrant 1. Now, I use Roman numerals because when I was growing up, they used Roman numerals to show these quadrants. Now they call them, you can use 1, the number 1. It doesn't matter. You can say quadrant 1 is a Roman numeral, or you can say quadrant 1. When you label these, they go counterclockwise. This is important, never changes. Quadrant 1, this becomes quadrant 2, and the Roman numeral is 2, or you can say 2, either one. Put an or. When you get down here, I'm going to just start shortening this to quad. As long as you understand that represents quadrant. Quadrant 3, or 3, and quadrant 4. That's the Roman numerals, or quadrant 4. So you have 4 sections for this coordinate plane. If I plug a point, now we're going to go on to ordered pair here and to the x-coordinate and the y-coordinate by going to the next slide. This is called a scatter plot. Kind of talked about this a little bit today. The scatter plot is a bunch of points on the coordinate plane that you have to identify. And you do that by finding the ordered pair. The ordered pair is written as x comma y, where the x-coordinate, that's one of your terms, is the value associated with the x-axis, and the y is the y-coordinate associated with the y-axis. What on earth do I mean by that? If I go to point A, what is x and what is y when this point is right here? You see that? What is x and what is y? Well, x is 1 and y is 1 because we go over 1 and up 1. So the point for A, and you'd write it like this, is 1, 1. That means at the point 1, over 1 and up 1. When we write an ordered pair, the x always comes first. The x value always comes first, so it's xy. So when I go to B, I count over on the x-axis, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So x is 6. What is y? Well, y, it doesn't move. It doesn't go up or down. So what is y? 0. Because if it moved up, it would be 1. If it went down, it would be negative. So let's look at C. C, what is x? 1, 2, 3, 4. So when x is 4, what is y? 1. Starting to see how that goes? Now you see if you can figure out D. What? How many did you go over? 2 for x. How many go up? 3. So for D, point D, you go over 2 on x and up 3. E, well, x is 0. Do you see that? X is 0 because we don't go back and forth. We're on the y-axis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the point, the ordered pair is 0, 7. A scatter plot is just a series of points that have been put on the graph that you have to figure out what their coordinates are. The coordinates is where they're located in relation to x, y. It's not as confusing as it seems. Well, what do you do with this? What you do is I'm going to give you equations. Get a drink of coffee. And you're going to have to graph this. Now we're going to label this x and y. And what it does is it tells you that y equals 2x minus 1. So I like to do a t table, x, y. I get to plug in any values I want to for x. I can plug in anything I want, any number I want, because whatever I put in, remember this was evaluating expressions we did a while back? You put a number in for x, and then you multiply by 2 and subtract by 1, and you get a number. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. You have to do 5 numbers. It's better to do small numbers. Don't get real big numbers because you have to graph them. Well, what is y? I can plug in values for x for this, and then I have to go, well, if x, and you can do this part in your head, if x is 0, 2 times 0 is 0, and 0 minus 1 is negative 1. So when x is 0, y equals negative 1, because this all simplifies to negative 1, and it tells you that y equals whatever that is. So this would be negative 1. So all you do is you go, each time you go, okay, when x is 1, what is y? Well, 2 times 1 is 2, and 2 minus 1 is 1. Okay, now I'm going to say when x is 2, what is y? I got to figure out what happens to all of this when x is 2 to find out what y is. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 minus 1 is 3. You should be seeing a pattern here. Every time this goes up by 1, this goes up by how many? 2. So you don't even have to do the math. You should know that the next one is 5 and 7. Because they're increasing by 2 each time, because I'm increasing this by 1. That's a pattern. Let's just check it. 3. 2 times 3 is 6, and 6 minus 1 is 5. So I know that's 7. I'm going to organize this because these are ordered pairs. This is x and y. Look, the ordered pair. I have to plot these points over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put parentheses around these. Look at that. And I'm going to label these A, B, C, D, E, because it gets kind of really messy if I try to put all that in there. 0, -1. So I go to my graph, I go to 0, 0, the origin. Remember that's called the origin. And I'm going to plot this point when x is 0 and y is -1. Okay, x is 0, y is -1. That's my point. And I label it point A. That's all I do. I go to point B. What is that? X is 1, y is 1. That's B. I plot the next one, C. X is 2, y is 3, C. I go to D. X is 3, y is 5, D. You see that? The relationship is where I put the point between the relationship between these two. When x is 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, y is 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, this is a scatter plot, but the scatter plot forms a straight line. And you have to show that. So what you're going to do is you're going to connect the dots, and you're going to put an arrow. Because this now represents the graph of this equation, y equals 2x minus 1. So what do? We write y equals 2x minus 1. Because all of this work is for this equation, y equals 2x minus 1. So now I'm done. That's my problem. That's my work. So what I want you to do now is I want you to stop the video. Oops, I went backwards. And I want you to do this one. You don't have to draw the grids. You can draw something like I did the other day, today, where you just do a basic one with the X and Y label, and then you can graph it. Don't make it small. Stop the video, use a T-table, and then turn it back on when you're ready. Okay, let's see how you did. Y equals x plus 1. Here you go. If you didn't use these values for x, that's okay, but your graph should look just like this. See, I have A, B, C, D, 0, 1, the point A, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. You could have used any points you wanted to, but the graph should look something like this. Make sure you labeled your points. Make sure you have y equals x plus 1 on the line of the graph, because that's all part of it. All right. You have to write down 2 things you've learned. Let me get out of the light. 2 things you've learned and 1 question you still have, and I'll see you in class.